going to be talking about a subject that everybody loves to talk about. Either they hate it or they love it, and we're gonna dive deep into it. And we've got Josh here with US Tungsten, and we are going to have a blast with him. And the information that he is going to give, I guarantee you, will shock you. You're going to want to pay attention to this episode because the the information that he's going to be giving is going to blow your mind. It has already blown Pappy's and myself's mind about it. So, but before that, let's take care of some business. Uh, Ready to hook into some serious bass? Grab Bruiser Baits, the tournament proven soft plastic and hard baits that puts fish in the boat every time. Bruiser Baits, fish the best. Get yours now at bruiserbaits.com. Use discount code DECKTALK10 and let's go grab you some baits and go hammer some fish. We have been putting some fish in the boat here this past week and with using the Bruiser Baits. So go grab you some. And with that being said, let's do our salute to valor, brother.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, Pappy J here. We all know who it is. And today's salute to valor is brought to you by none other than Waze Energy. Waze Energy is a huge supporter for our men and women in uniform, and we can't say enough about Waze Energy. How Luke and the staff over there, man, they are huge supporters of our men and women in uniform, and even the men and women that protect us. The police and the fire and the EMT and all of them. So hey, ways we really appreciate it. But today's special salute to valor goes to Specialist Gene Hartzell. He was stationed in Alaska. He was in Vietnam. He's no longer with us, but you know. He's just one of the many warriors that really paved the way for us so that we can do what we do here today. And we thank you, Jen. I ran into a guy at the local store where I live, and I seen he had a veterans tag, and got to talking to him, and it all come out that his dad was a vet, and that he served over in Vietnam War, and was stationed in Alaska, and we got to talking, and I was thrilled, and I said, I told him what we did, and he was really honored. He said, we thank you for doing that, but it's our honor. It's truly our honor to call these men and women and just give them a little bit of loving, because it goes a long way. But with that being said, shoot, yeah, Josh, let's jump into it, brother.
What's up, brother, man? Josh, thank you for coming on. And this has been an episode that I've been looking forward to, and ever since I talked to you at the Coleman, Alabama show, and so I've been excited about getting you scheduled on here and doing the podcast. So how's things going with you, brother?
Well, I think we got muted or something's happening.
Let's see.
I thought it was me again.
Well, it was crazy. It was just working right before we went live.
I know, right?
Everything was good. Everything was good. If you give us a second, guys, we'll get it figured out.
But yeah, so
But
so the guy that I ran into, man, he was super appreciative, and it I told him that once we figured things out, that and gave him a salute, that I'd come back and see him, and give him his coin that he so much deserves, and he was really
yeah,
appreciative of that as well. And I told him, I said, hey, brother, I said, you just keep it for yourself, or put it in with your dad's stuff because I'm sure he's probably got plenty of collectibles. But
Yeah.
you
Well,
know, he was like, heck yeah.
well, and the thing is, I mean, uh, without trying to get all political and all that, I mean, those guys really, I mean, they deserve every kind of recognition that they can get, and um, and they don't get enough credit. And the
Oh yeah.
freedom that we have today is for all the veterans and the soldiers and stuff that has ever put on that uniform and has defended our country to be able to do. I mean, that allows us to be able to do what we can do. Um, and so, with that being said, we take our hats off to you, um, and so I mean, it's really near and dear to our hearts to be able to be able to do this salute to valor.
Oh,
Josh, you get
absolutely.
it? No, I still can't hear you. So while let's see, while uh, we're trying to we'll get trying to get this figured out to where the mic is working on.
There it is. Oh,
What about? Can you hear us? Can you say something, Josh? No, still can't.
what if he unplugged it and plugged it back in his mic or headset?
Yeah, well, I think it's all it has to do with his mic. Um, but while we're waiting on the Josh, uh, we let's talk a little bit, Pappy, about we were able to go out uh, 3 or 4 days here this past week and went out on Chickamauga, and we put a hurting on them.
Well, yeah, we did, and it was. I'm gonna tell you, it was nice getting out there and ripping some lips,
Yeah.
to say the
Well,
least.
I tell you, when we went out that Wednesday morning, we got out there before the sun even got up, and uh, we thought we was going to get that early morning bite. And when we got it or got up there, we were getting hits, but they were just it was just kind of like short striking it, and and I seriously thought for sure that you got up, you caught two of them, and then we kind of hit a little dead zone, and then we kind of was changing things up, and uh, we figured out, we found a little pattern, and we made it happen, and ended up catching some. I mean, we got to a point to where we were catching three and a halfers pretty consistently.
Yeah. I was sitting here reading the text, and somebody said that if you haven't tried, try to unplug your mic, or you may say make sure his output device is at. Yeah, just try to unplug your mic and plug it back in again. See if that kind of works. I don't know.
I don't I don't know if he can hear us. Can you hear us, Josh? Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So, but we ended up. I mean, we you caught some fish on the Lurch's lure spinnerbait,
Hmm.
and which I mean it's my favorite by far spinner bait. As in, I mean, you can pretty much fish with it all day and catch some good ones um and not have to worry about
Sorry.
uh, there it goes.
Yeah, that's the other. That's my camera's mic. It's probably not very good. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
but the crazy thing, it
it's
was working fine a while
I
ago.
know. I unplugged it with my foot.
Oh,
ah so
Typical. Here's
so
I got a mess of wires. I'll just leave it like that. If y'all can hear it, I won't touch anything else.
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you're good.
Everything sounds good
All
now.
right. All right. Cool. Sorry about that,
Yeah.
guys.
No, you're good. You good.
No problem. No, we was just trying to fill it. We knew that you'd get it figured out, and we was just trying to fill up time talking about what we were doing on Chickamauga. Uh,
Yeah.
Jer-
Yeah. I appreciate.
so we Jerry Brusso says, "Yo, I'm in the house." So what's up, brother? So so Josh, what's going on in the tungsten world right now?
Man, the tungsten world's broken. That's the best way to put it. I can't think. What's the movie where the guy was watching or really got into the housing market and he saw this bubble coming and nobody believed him. Nobody believed him. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about? Yeah. So
I, I
that's where we're at.
right. And it's it's kind of, well, not kind of, it is sad to to see where it's really going. And you was telling us like the pricing of what tungsten and stuff was, and how much, like, it's even gone up in the past 7 days from what you was saying. And what you were telling us was just, I mean, was really just flooring me of really
Yeah.
how much it really just, I mean, dramatically went up. And so,
Yeah.
but with that being said, like, we were talking earlier, and you said that there's like 7 or 8 states that are like saying you have to throw tungsten, you cannot throw lead. So, is this going to change their mind with the price of what tungsten is on that aspect of things?
I don't think so, man. I think when you have legislation like that enacted and put into place, especially when it's environmental, I don't see them rolling that back. I think they will take the stance that the environment is more important than cost for an
Yeah,
angler. That's just my opinion. But that's going to be a big deal, you know. Like there's going to be certain states and things where you are going to be forced to either fish with steel. Now, steel is an option, right? So if we talk
yeah,
from a material basis, it's a lot bigger. The densities nowhere near what even lead was, and especially not tungsten. But you know, there are some limited options in those states, and that's going to be the interesting thing, right? So now, when we talk about tungsten, there's two types. So let me give a little background on kind of what tungsten is, you know, the types of tungsten that's made, and then that'll help roll into the rest of the segment. So when we think of tungsten, there are two types of main tungsten. So the first one is the most common. It's sintered, SINTER. So if it's sintered tungsten, that's your typical commodity. So the shiny tungsten, right? So worm
right,
weights,
Hmm.
drop shots, you know, all your commodity stuff that you fish with, your terminal stuff, that's all sintered. Meaning that that has to get pressed or made first. There's a binder in it. Then that binder, it goes out a couple different ways, usually thermally. Then you put it in a big sintering furnace set up to around 3,000 degrees. So that's a several day process. It takes a lot of steps, a lot of labor involved along the way, a lot of loss involved along the way during sintering. So you can have 5 to 15% loss. So that's how your typical sintered stuff. So your worm weights are made. So we've done that. We've done that for a long time. We made the Ozark Trail stuff for a couple years, and just kind of we've kept to ourselves for the past 4 or 5 years once we started manufacturing, because we wanted to make sure that we built up such an organization and processes and things that we kind of, when we went public with it, that we felt like we were in a strong position because we're the
Right.
first ones doing it here in the U.S. So anyway, so we did that for several years, and then we started seeing some prices go up a little bit about a year and a half ago. Started nudging up because we used to, I'll just be honest, I'll try to be transparent on all stuff today where I can. We used to get this powder for $25 to $35 a pound. And, the quote, about 30, 45 minutes ago, I got today's quote, and it was nearly $250 a pound.
Mm.
So
Man.
this is easy, a 10x, right? So a 10x multiple on just the raw material itself. So that's why I'm saying, like, fundamentally, centered is broken. Worm weights,
Yeah.
if you bought them today, like a 1-2 ounce weight, if we made it today, it would have to retail for $50.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So we saw that going. So like a year or so ago, I have a background. I used to be a professional hacker. That's what I did for 25 years, and I kind of retired and got into fishing. I was a FLW tour co-angler. Traveled around with Matt Arias, his practice partner, with Scott Martin, Tom
Right.
Reddington, Upshaw, and those guys. Um, so anyway, I got into this tungsten side of it, and we did the centering stuff. But we knew, like, when we started tracking these prices every day, kind of like stock, and we saw, hey, it's just every week it go up $2-3 a pound, $5 a pound, and we started saying, man, that's this is something we need to really watch. So we started analyzing that daily, taking all the data sources, figuring out what's going on, and trying to get ahead of the trend. So we developed what like a tungsten compound. It's probably 2 or 3 years ago now. So if you think back, the first time I saw something like that was like a Kitech ball head. That was
Right.
a tungsten kind of compound. So it's been done before. We did it. We made it the same density as lead. Had some really cool formulation stuff in there so it doesn't crack and do things like that. So that tungsten, that's top number 2, and that's composite tungsten. So that's kind of our lane. That's our specialty for a couple years ago. So we do a lot of that for big OEM stuff for several years.
Right.
So that's where we wanted to play. So I'll stop there for a second and catch up. But that catches us up to, that's the two main, when we talk of tungsten the rest of the show, that's the two main types of tungsten.
Right.
And really both of those use the same amount. So if you got a 7-gram composite jig and a 7-gram 2-piece centered jig, it's got the exact same amount of tungsten that goes in both. So I'll stop there.
Right.
So that's where we're at now. That's the two ways that it's made, and fundamentally, when you go to make those products, and it used to cost $25 a pound, now it's $250 a pound. Then where does it? I try to keep asking myself the whole time when I do these calculations of, like, where's the breaking point for the consumer? Like, what are they willing to pay for some tungsten worm weights? And I felt like, just my gut is like, man, maybe I'd pay $20 if I had to have them. 25 is like really, really pushing it.
Right.
But anything over that, it's hard to even justify, even for a tournament angler. A lot of times, not saying you won't buy one pack or something, but man, it's fundamentally broken.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I really, that one that, I mean, I enjoy using tungsten, and um, just for the one, the main fact that I really, one, it has, when it hits on the bottom and it's hitting that rock, it has a little different
Sure.
kind of little tick to it.
Yep.
And then especially, we throw a lot of Texas rig, and so we're able to compact that bait a little bit more with the tungsten than we are with the lead, in which we're fortunate enough to where we don't have to we don't have that no lead in the water,
Yeah.
in Tennessee or in Georgia or anything like, or anywhere where we fish, um, as of right now. And so, um, so that kind of makes it a little bit easier for us to where we see the tungsten go up, and but on the back end of it, it sucks for y'all because then y'all are seeing other, like, you're not seeing it going off the shelves and off the any kind of website sales or anything like that because you're having to. I mean, it's a business. You're having to make money, and um, and you got people to pay as well with the workers, employees, and stuff, and it just makes it tough when you're kind of handcuffed on the product that you're having to use or you're using is has gone skyrocket.
Yeah.
Oh man, imagine like a month ago or so when this really it broke. I think when it broke like 150, and that's when I just knew, man, it was so tough. It's probably been 2 months ago.
Yeah,
And then I came in and just one Saturday just looked and was like, man, we've got just say $1 million worth of sintering equipment, these big ovens, and this whole line that runs down this building, and it's all just sitting there quiet, And that was a
yeah,
really kind of a tough thing to try to look at and think, man, this, when I started this 7 years ago, I started the brand Titan Tungsten first. And we
right,
launched it, and we brought a lot of things to market that's never been done before, like putting the logo on a weight, the size on a weight, this no chip finish. Like I felt like we're disruptive at the time, and that brand like took off. I mean, we ended up getting it in Walmart, 1,700 stores. Like we were really, really rocking and rolling with it. And then
yeah,
COVID came, and then everybody started having those manufacturing problems. So that's when we really switched gears and said, okay, we're going to manufacture this no matter what. So I cashed out everything. Like I've done computer security and intelligence work for 25 years. That's what I've done. And I was at a point where I could fish Gunnersville every day and doing this co-angler thing, wanting to go pro, and that was going to be my path at that point. I was semi kind of retired, and when we decided to go down this path, I told my wife, I said, we're going to commit. We're going to do this. And, the story I like to tell about it is when I first started getting into this, I called this material company in California and said, hey, we want to start a tungsten company up. And he said, that's great, man. We can get you some material. He said, what's your background? And I told him. He goes, man, I'm going to save you a lot of money. I said, brother, lay it on me. What do you got for me? He goes, give up. He said, you'll never figure this out. You're going to need metallurgists. You're going to need scientists. You're going to need this. You're going to need that. And I wish I could shake his hand, because that's all I needed is that little bit of push. And we just had to what we call fail fast. So we failed, like
yeah,
we literally just failed at it for 2 years, over and over and over and over, and failing and failing. And when you do this centering stuff, so you have this big furnace and you put all the material in there, and it runs for like 24 hours. So you have that whole time that you're waiting, and you're like, hey, this is going to be the time. I think I've got the heat under control now, and the gas and all these settings, because there's no book. You can't read about this stuff hardly online at all. The
right,
only thing that we knew was a NASA patent or a NASA document from the 60s, literally, when it first started doing this stuff. So we just had this starting point, and eventually it get a little bit better and a little bit better, and then we ran a cycle and came back in, and it made some worm weights for the first time, and it was such a great feeling, and then we
right,
thought, man, we've got it whooped now. And then what you don't realize is as you start adding more and more and more parts to that furnace, then it makes it harder and harder, and you got to keep changing and modifying and documenting, and as you go to get this stuff right, because it's incredibly challenging.
yeah,
But yeah, that was but man, I feel like you have to be able to be agile in the fishing industry because trends change, regulations change. What the customers want and the market changes. So you have to be flexible in a sense to be able to change your path. You always can't just, for the most part, go down one corridor.
right, right. Yeah, you definitely have to be on your toes and stuff and be versatile on being able to, I guess you say, adapt to the situations. And and y'all have definitely been thrown a pretty heavy curveball. And so Jerry says the industry the industry is twofold story in that tungsten is increasing, but forward facing has taken flippers away from the bank. So instead of needing 1 ounce to 1.5 ounce, we need to use 1/16 to 1/8, and which he's definitely correct. We have definitely seen to where the forward facing sonar, everybody's gone definitely towards the finessing side of things. So I guess that is one thing that is a plus for y'all and for the anglers and stuff, to where we're not having to go and get the 1 ounce or ounce and a half flipping weights to be able to go punch grass or anything, because a lot of people are have pulled away from the banks to do forward facing sonar.
No, I agree, and that is an excellent transition because
Yeah.
that's really where we've been focused at, just quietly over the past year and a half, couple years. Um, so we've stumbled across some things, and then which led down this whole rabbit hole of acoustics and material design and things like that. But number one, I'll tell you first, and now we're switching gears. So now there's some things that I'll say from here out that may just be high level, and I won't get into certain details about, because we're starting to get into some pretty cool technical stuff. And I want to be able to tell you and explain things that I can, but there's certain legal things, just because we've done a lot of protection, a lot of patent work in this area. We've got several utility patents filed. So, that I want to discuss it, but at a high level. But there's some things I may take a pause and think about how I word it. So, anyway,
Right. You're good. You're good.
all right. So that's the first thing that we needed to solve to stay in business is how do we combat that price, right? So our lane again, our lane is anything with a hook in it. That's what we've been focused on. That's what we do a lot of OEM work on. 30, 40, 50,000 pieces a week, 3 shifts. So anyway, that's obviously a hot thing, right? That's where the market's headed, or been kind of that direction. So we had to solve a few challenges in tungsten. The first one was, how do we deal with $250 a pound?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? So our first set of patents solved that problem first. So what we do at a high level is we've figured out where we can take multiple components for the first time ever. We can take multiple components in terminal tackle, multiple materials, put them together. So we're going to be able to maintain kind of what the industry standard in pricing is now for a lot of this stuff, for anything with a hook in it in tungsten, for instance. So say a forward-facing sonar heads that we were going to launch tonight, but I just found out that tungsten's now $240 a pound, so I didn't have enough time to rethink through strategy and
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
and some things like that. So that was the first thing that we solved, and we're gonna we're calling that TrueCore. So TrueCore is that line of patents and protection, so that'll allow us to bring these tungsten products to market here moving forward at scale, but be able to do it at a price that is affordable to the angler. And I think we solved something really big there, because if you called us today and you wanted to order, let's say you wanted a centered 1/4 ounce ball head forward facing sonar head. So when you center that, it's got to be multi pieces. So take the Scottsboro head. It's really awesome, right? It's a little round head and it's got a groove in it. So you would take that and you would assemble it. You put the hook in the groove and you epoxy it over it, and you can finish it or leave it plain. So most people leave it plain, but if we had to do that head today, like I'm saying, 2 of those would be $25 to $27 a pack for 2.
Wow.
Out of that traditional process and traditional material. So you can't survive. There's no velocity in those categories on those pegs when you've gone from $11.99 to $25.99 or $27.99. The velocity just isn't there. So consumers start to they go back to lead is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we have we have for the first time took a different look at how tackle is made, to where we're not just, most companies, if you want a bait to wobble or do certain things, you're limited to one material at a time, lead or tungsten, basically, or steel. Let's just say three.
Right.
So you're limited to those single materials. They've got a known density. They have a known acoustic signal or impedance for the forward-facing sonars. But you're limited to kind of like take like the core or the head it's got kind of the hat on it and it makes it wobble.
Right.
So in terminal tackle, in order to make it do certain things, you have to physically move that single weight around. Whether you make the center of gravity go forward or down or up, or do a little shape
Exactly.
that's weighted over the hook, to make it do certain things. So, so we solved the cost problem, we feel like, with our first invention. We've proved that out. We have some very large OEMs that's launching that at ICAST this year, along with us launching it ourselves. So we're coming to market with that. And then there's a couple other things that it just gets better, man. So that's the foundational piece. That one, that change, that allows us to bring these parts to market at an affordable price, allows that category to stay alive and not go back to all lead. So that was a big cornerstone. But then we did two more things. So we kept researching, kept playing with things, and we're able to, let me see how the best way to put it. We're on the inside of a terminal tackle for the first time. We're able to do things that dictate the motion of it, all inside the head. So it's all hidden. So
Right.
we now, and this is all the stuff that we've got protected, because we feel like this is where, in a couple of years now, but we feel like that's where the market's heading now that we figured this out. It's not, it's things that you can do inside the bait, inside the head, that's just, it's amazing, man. And it's not just like it's marketing stuff or anything like that. It's real, like it's tangible. You can
Right.
see it. You can see it how it swims. You can see it. So anyway, those are two things. So the true core, and then true control, and then we have the biggest one is true ping. So true ping, I feel like, is a game changer for the forward-facing sonar world.
I believe
And
it.
and so what we've done, without getting too deep into details or anything, so what we've done is, for the first time, we've designed terminal tackle not for the shape or how it looks. We've designed it for the screen. Literally everything about these heads that we've made is acoustically, technically, motion, all designed to be the best it can be.
Yeah.
So
So what is that? What is that going to do? What is it going to do? Like, let's say you have it out. You've got forward facing sonar. How is the angler going to be able to see a difference in between that and then just a regular, let's just say a regular tungsten swim jig?
perfect, perfect. That's a great question. So before we do that a little bit, let's talk about what forward-facing sonar is at a real high level, how it works, and what makes something come back on the screen, right? So
Right.
forward-facing sonar at a real simple level, it sends energy out, and then it returns energy back. And the energy
Yeah.
that's returned back, it interprets that, and that's how it figures out what it's seeing, right?
Right.
So let's say, all right. So impedance. Impedance is how the sonar works, in a sense of how it figures out, and how the signal returns back. Impedance is like brightness, right? So let's just say, I mean, if you have a soft plastic versus lead, I think lead returns like 78% intensity back, something like that, and sintered
Right.
tungsten's like 90%, something like that. So the thing is, each material in water acoustically, there's a MRAY. MRAL is, I think, the scientific name of it. I just call it Z in my equations. So that's basically you have to measure light intensity and how it reflects off the material that you're working with. Okay, so and I'm probably pinballing, but let me back up and let's just talk about shape. And
Right.
this is just one instance. So you've seen forward facing heads, and they come in all different shapes. There's
Right.
guppy, there's head shapes. There's just all kind of different shapes. So the first thing the absolute best forward facing sonar shape is a ball head. Hands
Right.
down, mathematically, you cannot beat a perfect ball. And the reason that is because no matter which way the ball is turning, when the sonar hits it, it reflects the most back right at that angle of your sonar.
Mm-hmm.
So think if that was a fish head and you hit it, you're going to have a lot of scatter and a lot of reflection. So
Right.
when I talk about engineered for the screen, you have to take in every element of the design and integrate that into it. So another little piece of that, and I'll pause again. Another piece of that, if you take that same, like the center tungsten head, which I think the industry, and I thought this way because I have got thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in scanning Gunnersville. Like that's the most fun I ever have had is just learning and scanning and 2D downside and like 2D for instance, hard stuff always comes back as red or harder. It's a different color. So I had that way of thinking of like, okay, well, tungsten's more dense. This sintered tungsten, the shiny stuff, it's got to be the best there is on sonar because it's just a harder metal. That's got to be, just better. But that's not, and it wasn't until a couple weeks ago when I was talking to an engineer friend and we really got into some math and looking at acoustic stuff, and he taught me something. And he basically what it was is you look at the intensity returned back by the material, and once you get to really to lead to 70 something percent, anything past that is real minimal on the intensity because your transducer is only so sensitive. So it's such a big impedance mismatch from water already that it's going to show up. Now the trick is first of all shape. So shape is one of the most important things. So we already said the ball is better. And the next biggest thing you start looking at is cross section. So cross section, if you took it and you sliced it in half and you looked at the volume of that cross section, that's the second most important thing in sonar head. So to answer your question now the long way, the difference is of what TruePing does is you don't lose it.
Yeah.
When you throw it out there and you at 100 feet and you start bringing it back, the goal of our technology is you want to be able to see it the whole time. Mm-hmm. Because if you take that same tungsten head with the groove in it, when you put that epoxy in that groove, that makes a dead zone. So when you think about how that's rotated and swimming back, it's almost like a taco, right? On both sides of that, you have a section that's very reflective and very good. But that area, the impedance from that epoxy, that's why you see it flash. You know what I mean? Like you're drilling back in, you'll see it kind of flash and go away.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's reflection either due to the head shape or hitting dead zones. And that's what we wanted to solve. Where we really are trying to make a difference is 100 feet to 50 feet, to be honest with you. I feel like that's the biggest area of improvement.
Yeah. Well, see, because we've seen, I've had forward-facing sonar on the boat for 4 years, and when I first got it, I could pull up to, let's say I pulled up to a point, and I could catch fish at 20, 25 feet. Now, as time went on, now if that fish is not 60 or farther out, it's hard. You're the likelihood of you catching it if you're closer than 60 feet right now on Chickamauga, it is hard to catch those fish because they're. I'm not saying every boat, but a good part of the boats, especially if they're tournament anglers, are going to have forward facing sonar, and you know just as well as I do, and you've probably seen it on Gunnersville as well. Chickamauga and Gunnersville gets hammered, and
Mm-hmm.
they're getting so much pressure, and I would say it's probably what 70-80% of the people that are fishing for these bass are having forward facing sonar
Oh
on
yeah.
their boats, and so they're getting that ping if it's from a Garmin, Lowrance, or whatever. These fishers are learning what's good around them and what's bad. Well,
Yeah.
they've learned that ping, they're getting caught with being hearing that ping,
Mm-hmm.
and so now we're having to be farther out. So having something like what you're saying to where I can throw 100 feet out in front of me and be able to see it as soon as it hits the water, and being able to control the level, because that's another thing. You need to see what the level is to where you're in the water column where you need to be to bring it back, and if you're throwing something out, then you're kind of having to do the old fashioned countdown to be able to get it to the level that you're at until the sonar picks it up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then we're working with a big forward-facing sonar manufacturer, so they're actually testing some configurations of our new products now. So we're going to have lab data back to do
Right.
some further analysis and tweaks and things on it. So I'm not just this isn't a marketing deal. Um, like anything I say, I'm not trying to make claims, specific claims, right now, just to be clear. But
Right.
any claims that I do make, I will be able to back up with data. But at the end of the day, I mean, who cares what the mathematician says, right? You want the angler to be able to see the difference on the screen, and I want that story to tell it for themselves. I want someone to throw it and the first cast look down and be like, tell their buddies in the back, like, hey man, come up here and look at this.
Yeah.
That's the kind of difference that we're trying to have with forward facing sonar, and I want
Yeah.
to do it. I want to keep it simple, so it's ball head design. I want to do a couple different keepers. There's some different keeper designs that we've tested. We've got this little deal that we do, and we put it on there, and we kind of test pull strength, of different keepers and how it acts with different baits and things like that. So it's just so awesome to be able to do what we're doing. No matter it's the toughest that it's ever been, and I think a lot of people probably would have given up. But we have an amazing team, and it's so cool to be able to come in and know that we had to solve these certain problems, and be faced with these challenges at the same time. But I feel like, man, I feel like we're actually doing something really cool, and it's made here in the U.S. And I'm just proud. I'm proud of the whole team.
Yeah. I totally agree. We love seeing that stamp of made in the USA on all of our product as well. I mean, and it's kind of like the stuff from Japan and stuff like it's here the past 8 to 10 years. It's always seemed like they're always like a step or two ahead
Yep.
of United States, um and just on kind of figuring out how with just making different baits, and I believe that's just for the fact because it is they've got so many people like those their lakes over there. From what I've talked to the other anglers and stuff, and when we do media with bass, like they have they don't have as many lakes over there as what we do, and so the people that fish, it just seems like they're just lined up along the bank or whatever. So they're having
Mhm.
to do something different
Right.
to be able to do it, and then to see that you're you're making something that is by far going to be able to help the angler out in many different aspects of fishing, and it's to me that I mean that's if there's something out there that I can go and if I can go catch one more fish, then it's worth it to me, um, because I mean, well, we don't fish that many tournaments, but we do make a lot of content and stuff. So any kind of stuff that we can do to be able to make good content, and that's what we want to be able to use. And so to see that y'all are making something to be able to how the industry is kind of like what Jerry said earlier, went from where everybody was getting those 1 ounce to ounce and a half and doing a bunch of flipping, and to where now it's kind of gone to the swim jigs and shaking a minnow, and how y'all kind of integrated all that. Um, I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of I know it seems like it's taken forever on your end, but I mean the forward facing sonar within the last 3 to 4 years have really just blown up, and to have y'all to kind of integrate and move to that, to me, I think is amazing.
Yeah, and we got a pretty cool question by John Pate. Um, he says, "Who's going to be the first one to make the hooks out of the tungsten as weights? 2-in-1 idea. Just wondering if it can even be done."
Man, with 250 a pound, I think we're trying to limit. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
it's man, it's really that material is changed globally, and I don't. We we were meeting with a big brand probably 3 months ago, and we're doing our kind of pitch on just market analysis because I study it every day, and I look at all these SKUs on certain websites, and I watch price change and
Hmm.
inventory runway, and I'm watching to see who moves first, right? Because when you have this inventory and then it's gone, you've only got a couple options. You exit that category, or you reprice.
Yeah,
And we've seen a little bit. Now I've also seen there's a couple companies that specialize in tungsten that are shutting down. And man, I hate it for them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
back when I had Titan, it's different. Back when I was just a brand guy, I'm like a hungry wolf. If there's another hungry wolf over there and we're fighting over steaks, man, hey, may the best wolf win. But
right,
now I'm different. Like I've met a bunch of these guys, and not that I hated them or had anything against them. It's just competitive, man. I got to feed
Yeah,
my
yeah,
family too. But now that I'm kind of that I own the factory, it's a different. And I do truly. It's I hate it because I've met some really good guys that own tungsten companies, and they're just like us, and they fish and just good old people, and they
yeah,
work hard just like we do, and it just sucks because that whole category as we know it is dead. For those certain items.
yeah,
But I got to back up and got to put the business hat on. And so moving forward, if you take those sintered tungsten out of the way, even though we our methods and stuff works with sintered tungsten too, we're not doing that in the beginning. So I've got some projects going on with it, but when this new market comes back around, if you've got a hook in it and it's tungsten and you're able to sell it under $12, you're either licensed it from me or you're infringing. That's literally how things are going to be. I didn't have a chance to do that with the
right.
tungsten stuff getting going because I just wanted to launch. Man, it was so new and it was working. It's just blowing up. Things that have never been done, and you get so excited and you just want revenue and grow the company, but you don't at early stage in businesses, you don't think about protection. So this is the first time that I've really protected first, and then to the point where I even had a call about what things can I say and not say. You know, not saying I'm perfect at it or making claims or whatever, but I feel strong about where we're positioned in the future.
Yeah. So
So as far like moving forward, US Tungsten, um, so you guys are like really, I guess, adapting very well to the future of fishing and all its technologies. It's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and we've been forced to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
if not, we'd just go out of business. And
Hmm.
then
Yeah.
my 401k, everything that I've ever had up until the point it invested in this company, because we did it on our own. We don't have nobody behind us. You know, we bootstrapped it. So, man,
Right.
I had
Right.
some old cool hot rods that I've wanted all my life, and I sold them all. I had Scott Martin's. I bought his new Ranger. Because I mean, and I work for all this. I don't want to come off like, man, I had all this
No,
stuff
no,
given
no,
to me.
no. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I had these things in like early 40s, and I was like, I was really comfortable. But we had to sacrifice all of that to get the stuff that we needed to build this, you know. And so I don't have a Corvette. I've got a really cool CNC machine, you know. but but we do all that here, man. And I'm really,
Right.
you know, we hire veterans. That's one thing that we try to do, and we've got just a bad to the bone team of guys that I know that goes to bat with us every day to make this stuff. But we really do everything in house. So I design the stuff. So I'll design something here in the office, and
Hmm.
then we'll have a little meeting. We'll look at it and say, yeah, let's change this or that, and then we'll go take it out to the floor and we'll cut our molds in our CNC, and then we'll go make some parts, and then we'll come back and study them under a microscope and look at them and try them and test them. I got access to some pools and things through the industry to get some underwater stuff. Um, but the thing is, we've been doing like so much OEM work and just always really focused on doing it for everybody else. So
Hmm.
because that's a tough position to be in. When I was a buyer, I never liked for the factory to be making and selling stuff too, because you're in competition with them. But you got to do a little bit of that these days, especially in a tough market. So we'll continue to do our OEM stuff, continue R&D, but we're also under that TruePing brand. We're going to launch that and offer these heads in certain configurations. Um, and even it, the even gets cooler is that we're going to be able to tune it. I wasn't going to say it, but we're going to be able to tune it to each sonar. We'll go as far
Yeah.
as to tune ahead to certain frequencies of certain sonar brands, and it's
Wow.
going to be all man. It's
That's
I can't wait.
That
and
that
it's
is amazing.
and and to me that that right there, in which uh, we had talked about it, and I didn't know if we was going to get to that. Um, and I was gonna let you just kind of take the wheel when we
Yeah.
started talking about all this. I was just gonna let you talk if we had any questions or anything like that to ask. But to me, to be able to focus it in on, I mean, because if you're adjusting it to where you can do it on different frequencies for different
That's
units.
a game changer. Is what that is.
Well, right, but I mean, but right now, like the how forward facing sonar is, in my opinion, the top level is Garmin, then Lowrance, then Humminbird. Um, and if you can tune those frequencies into
Boy, you
those
just made a bunch of
individual,
people mad.
well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, prove me wrong. And but if like for people, and I think, and it's because I think it's because of money issues. Is because Garmin is more expensive, but you get what you pay for. And I mean, and I have Lowrance Active Target too, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But then I've been on a boat with the Humminbird, and you just don't see things as clearly. And I think it's come down like the manufacturers, Garmin, Lowrance, and Humminbird, they're doing all they can. I mean, just the updates. I think like Lowrance has had 6 to 8 updates since the beginning of the year to where they're trying to get things to where the picture's clear and stuff like that. It's going to come to a point to where they're going to hit that wall to where they cannot do nothing else with technology. And
Yep.
and it's going to have to be to where something's going to have to change. Well, you just brought in that change to where now the people with hummingbirds
Yep.
going to be able to see what they need to see at a farther distance and being able to go catch some fish. This is a total game changer in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's been mind blowing because I'll just be honest, we kind of fell in. That was not our original plan. You know, our original plan was figure out how we can work with new materials and get the cost of tungsten down to survive, right?
Yeah.
But as we started doing it, I can't. When the patent publishes, I'll be able to tell the story about how the idea came across. But I was supposed to read this part. Any claims that I say on here are not. No, I'm just kidding. But think about that though, right? And I seriously, I'm not trying to put any numbers behind it or anything. I mean, honestly, let's just say you had the best, whatever that brand is, on the market right now that people have is the forward-facing sonar head. And let's say I made a head, and this is just saying, what if it was 150% stronger return?
Yeah.
What if?
I mean, well, yeah, what if?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What would that do to the market? What if it was 250%? What would that do?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, that's just. I mean, it's a game changer on everything that it. And
well, I can tell you this: all the electronic people, they're going to love y'all. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, like I said, we're built for the screen,
Yeah.
I'm a technology guy, and this is so. My wife's so mad at me right now. Love you, babe, but I've been over here for like 2 weeks straight. Like I just started drinking coffee about a couple months ago, and I figured out, buddy, I get 3 cups of coffee in me, and I'm picking them up and putting them down. Like you have to pry me out of this office. But I'll work early and go eat, and then see my wife and her daughter, and then I'll come back over here and work on things. But we're building this for the screen. This is not just some marketing hype or whatever. It's not. There's other products that are topical that are great. That's not what we're doing. There's plenty of room for everybody. We're internal in heads. That's where we're going to play. That's where we protect it, and I feel like we're, again, I don't want to just lean on marketing. Like I don't really care about the marketing claims. I want to just prove it. That's what I want to do. I want the guys to see it for themselves and let them do the marketing because I know what the math says, and the math is it's good.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say, Josh, is I'm looking forward to being able to get my hands on some, and I'm gonna put them in a lockbox to where old Pappy, when he's out on the boat, that he can't get to it because I don't need him scoping out these fish. And if he's standing,
you ain't going to have to worry about that because you're going to lose it. I'm just going to go get me a scuba deer, and I'll be finding
it. So, but Jerry says my electronics are more than most people would ever put on a boat. We do content videos and would have been able to throw a Ned rig out 100 feet and the return looks like a glowing softball. And so, which he has a lot on but he's got all 3 on his boat. He does it he has kids for fishing. And so with that, they go and they teach kids like how to position themselves with the boat and boat position and how to drive a boat, how to use a trolling motor. And then also they teach them how to use the electronics. So he wants the kids to be able to have to find out for themselves which screen that they like better, and so that's how he goes about, and he lets them see for themselves which one they like, and that's the reason why he's got um, the all three of them on the boat, and so uh, it's gonna be it'll be interesting to see what what kind of content that if when he gets some of these, that if he will
Yeah,
content
absolutely.
that he's gonna pull up them. So
Yeah, yeah. Josh at ustungsten.com. I meant to launch a little website tonight. That when the tungsten price came in, that just blew my hat off, and just I've been on the phone. But man, absolutely, and that's a great point. So, and that's the other thing about. So, say you have it tuned, right? So he mentioned you could
yeah,
throw a net head 100 and see it. Okay, okay. We'll take that same net head. Now let's increase the cross section. Let's define the shape to that sphere that works even better. So you think about how bright that net head is. Take it and put some enhancements on that, and
that's
yeah, man,
crazy.
you're not gonna miss it. You know,
He's gonna it's
that's
gonna
the
look
key.
like a basketball coming through there.
That's the goal, man. You know
Yeah,
that is the goal. To be able to see it at motion. That's so important. If you
Mm-hmm.
can see it on the fall, like that's important. I mean, anybody can see something 25 feet in. You know,
right, right.
but it's really that 40 feet to 100, 40 to 110. You know,
Yeah,
that range is where we really want to play.
Yeah.
Um, and we want to not only, you know, again, if you design things for the screen, but you still have to design things for the bait as well. So that's where the keeper designs come into it.
yeah,
So I've got a keeper design that I personally really like, that we'll probably launch with, and then I want to do another one. But then hooks. So, man, I like Victory hooks a lot. Like I do a lot of big OEM stuff with Victory hooks. I like them a lot. I also now I'm not bound to any one manufacturer. We do Eagle Claw stuff. We do a lot of Mustad stuff, VMC stuff. I work with everybody. But I will say that John, he's their head OEM guy at Mustad. We've been working pretty close, and he's sending us their new hook, that we're going to try out, and it's going to be bad to the bone in this version of this head. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
our design, their new, I'm not going to call it a forward-facing sonar hook. You know, that's just kind of crazy, but it's a really good hook. It's got a little bit longer shank to it, a little bit more gap, and it's got a really bad to the bone coating and point. I mean, that's only a couple things you can do to a hook. But I'm really excited to put in that combination. I think Victory, we've got a solid hook to start with right now. But then version 2, I think they're actually supposed to land today. When they send those in, we're going to launch a next version. So that's kind of how I want to play in it. I'll just tell you, that ball shape's going to be hard to beat. So if we're optimizing,
Yeah,
a lot of it's going to be ball shape. I've got a couple colors. I've got a couple hook options and a couple keeper options. And then when you add a couple sizes to that, you've got 90 variants. So I don't
yeah.
need anything else.
Right.
No,
That that in itself is trooping. Like that's the whole category.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And that's again, that's just to me is just amazing to be able to think um, that because I've been out on Jerry's boat and I've seen what he's talking about, and to be able to see that already that his is at a softball, to see what it's going to do with it is just phenomenal for me, to just to think, and then um, just the opportunity as an angler wise again to see that uh, maybe this is the what it's gonna take to have people that kind of hate on the forward facing sonar, uh, to see like it's actually a pretty cool little deal. I mean, you still got to go out there and catch the fish. You might be able to see them all day long, but you still got to catch the fish. So,
Yeah.
uh, but to be able to put that bait in that water column where you need it to be, and to be able to see what you're doing with that bait is by far, it's phenomenal. Just especially what everything that y'all are doing. I'm loving it.
And not
I'm
to
ready.
mention just having the ability to tune it to whatever uh, electronics you're running is also, phenomenal in itself.
That's
Uh,
such a crazy idea, right? I mean, I know there's going to be
I mean,
lots of people like, "Boy, this guy is
yeah, I'm
is
still hung on it.
crazy."
I mean, I can't wrap my mind around it. I'm like,
Yeah,
dang, man, this is like out there, but
it's
it's
a
it's good, a good
super
out there.
complex deal, and when the patents publish, it'll make a lot more sense. But
Right.
it's not like smoke and mirrors. It's backed in acoustics and math and physics, and like I've got equations, and here's one thing alone, just the surface area alone, right? So just the surface area makes a huge improvement.
Right.
That
Yeah,
cross section surface area, I mean that's anybody can Google that and look it up. So
Yeah.
yeah,
the problem though why lead didn't perform as well because it had a larger surface area, right, than a little tungsten
Mm-hmm.
ball head. The problem with it is that lead is not a perfectly solid material. It's a one-piece material, but it's got micro like voids and air gaps. And then if you look microscopically on the surface, it's not, unless you would have to polish it, right, to get more of a directional return. So when it hits lead, it's really going to scatter.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
you just don't have that reflection back. So that's why lead is not as good either. And then you add that into a different shape that's not a ball. So then you're less ideal, because I look at it now as categories. How do we
Mm-hmm.
Right.
optimize this, and this? So I start going down the checklist, and there's a lot of things that say that they're optimized for forward-facing sonar, that may not actually be optimized.
Yeah. Now I got a question. Earlier you was talking about like the tungsten, the weight would have like the slit in it and stuff like that, and then they put the silicone and stuff over it. Is that the reason why like some tungsten weights and stuff, like when you get them, like after you catch a few fish on them, that weight starts rocking back and forth?
Yes, because there's all right. When you have this is just the centered, right? So the parts that go in the oven, how if it's shiny, it's centered. So there's
Right.
only like three ways that you make a centered head. So you put it in the furnace, it comes out, and it's two pieces, A and B. It's got a hook gap in the middle, and you assemble that around the hook. That's method number one. That's the two-piece method, or a
Right.
multi-piece method as well. You can do a multi-piece. Um, the second one and the ice jig guys have been doing this forever. It's a one piece, but it's got a groove in it, like the Scottsboro head. It's
Right.
pretty common. They work great. Nothing negative at all. Like, man, there's guys that's been wearing them out on them things. Like they sell the fire out of them.
Mm-hmm.
But from a technical, just a pure technical point of view, if you look at that impedance, when you have an epoxy is like a deadener, right? Its impedance is so low that when you hit that with sonar, it's like a dead zone in that area. The same way like a soft plastic is, right? That's a
Right.
very, very, very low impedance of soft plastic on its own. So that's how anything centered. There's only got a couple ways you can make it because it has to go to the furnace in 3,000 degrees. So when it comes
Wow.
out, and they all shrink at different rates. Like I'll show you. I've got actually had found some today. Yeah, these are cool. So we don't do this job anymore. Um, these are Black Hawk washer tungsten washers. That weighs like 2 ounces. There's the camera.
Oh wow.
But but the thing is, like, it just made me think of it. I've got like a 20 pack of them right here, and when you make these, you make them to tolerance, so they might be a thousandth difference, in each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to measure them up. But anyway, the heads are the same way, right? So when you put them in this big centering furnace, they're really big. Like we've got a small one, and then you've got a great big one. So when you put them in there, they all shrink at a different rate. So what you got to do is when you get them out, you got to bless you. You got to match them up
Okay.
and get the heads to be the right size. If not, you'll have a gap around it. So that's kind of behind the
Right.
scenes, but that's what you do to make the centered head, and then you epoxy it together. And then that, or the last way that I refuse to do, is you cut the hook. So a lot of these, especially jigs, the way they make them is they make the one piece head. So you got less labor. You don't have to assemble it and hold it while it dries and all these things. You put it in a fixture, but you make it a one piece head, and they have a hole. You have to have the hole made in the mold. You pull the
Right.
pin out, and then you literally take a hook and you cut it. You cut it in the middle, and then you grind or cut the other side so it goes in there a certain amount. And you take epoxy and you put it in there, and you're literally epoxying the hook in, so the hook is no
Really?
longer
That's
connected.
horrible.
Yeah, I mean, and I refuse to do it, man, and I won't. I will not make it because I don't know, man. I'm just an old country boy at the end of the day, and I grew up fishing, and I know how important fishing are to some people, especially guys that got a check on the line. And I don't care how good the jig's supposed to be. I'm not going to make something where the dang hook will come out of it.
Yeah.
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 You
I mean,
know,
yeah,
not
that's what, to me. I mean, that there's no worse feeling than you get something. You're fishing in a tournament for $100,000, and you get a fish, and then you're trying to maybe boat flip it or whatever, and the hook just slides right on out, and you just lost the fish,
who
maybe lost the tournament just because
who knows.
malfunction. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I can't. And again, hey, they can. Anybody else, they can make it however they want to make it. That's not up to me. Do your thing, but we won't make it that way.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Just for that reason. I don't know, man. We put a lot of pride into what we make.
Yeah.
All our guys here take it serious.
Yeah. Well, we've had you on for over an hour and 10 minutes, and man, we deeply appreciate you coming on. We got to have you come back on, and let's
Yes.
do some more
Yes.
talking.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. I've enjoyed it.
And with you just right down the road, maybe we can hop on the boat uh, and do some
Yeah.
content and stuff like that. And
Colin makes a good net, man. So
Hey,
hey, I'm getting a shirt and a hat that says professional net man and having an arrow pointing to my partner.
yeah,
yeah.
that'd be awesome, man. Well, the only way I remember it each year is I used to fish. Like I fished Gunnersville, I think for 260 or 270 days straight. And when they get offshore, man, that's my jam. Like I've
Mm.
literally mapped it from Seabold down to the dam, every ledge with my old Humminbird Onyxes, and I've made, I go back and study them, and I've learned all these different waypoints, but I go back and learn what makes them good. Why they set
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
that way,
Yeah.
and I could go out. There's this hump out by Seabold that I'd go to fish and crank every evening, and I got there and I could side scan them, and I could tell you if Donald Johnson's been there. Well, on guide trip, about how the way they was looking and how they'd set up, because they'd be beat on and they'd be moved about 50 yards out of the way. And I said, all right, well, I'll
Yeah.
come back and check them later.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that'd be awesome. I'm not saying I catch them all the time, but I know some spots to go check and kind of how it
Yeah.
sets up out there when they get deep. So, man, that'd be awesome. I'd love to get in the boat. I just don't get no time no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear
I
you.
can imagine. Yeah.
And well, we have a question that we ask every guest that comes on, and and then after this, then Pappy's got something that he wants to say as well. But Pappy, you want to ask the last question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to thank you for giving us your time and coming on here and talking to us and blowing our mind with some new stuff. And can't wait to get you back on here when we can really talk about it. But question is if you had one person that you could fish with, whether they're here with us today or not, who would that person be and why?
Oh man, um, that's a tough one. I'd say Bear Bryant.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, roll tide.
Roll Tide.
Yeah,
Yes. I'll definitely
yeah.
be down.
Hey, hey, we're I don't know what's going on with the podcast, but it's flickering out. We must be going through a tunnel.
Hey, man.
I read it. I mean, I mean, it would really be my grandfather, but I don't want to get emotional. But Bear Bryant would be my second choice
Yeah.
because I read a bunch of his books, and one thing I've traveled all around the world working, and one
Mhm.
thing he used to do is he used to take his shirts and he'd put a little hole in it at the bottom because you
Oh.
never forget where you come from.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
one thing that's kind of stuck with me. No matter where you're at or who you
Yep,
think
that
you
makes
are, don't
sense.
ever forget where you come from.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Absolutely.
And
Well, with that, let me everybody on here listening and everything, hey, we all see what's going on in the world today. Um, we would greatly appreciate it here at Deck Talk and all our sponsors and everybody, just everybody in general. Hey, keep our men and women in your thoughts and prayers because we're going through some trying times right now, and
yeah,
it's getting pretty hairy in certain places, and we would greatly appreciate it if y'all just kept our men and women in your thoughts and prayers.
yeah. So, and that's for sure. I mean, because again, like what we've said before, if it wasn't for our servicemen and women, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast and be able to meet new people and
Yep.
have the great guests that we have come on each and every week. And uh, the freedom that we have is definitely not free.
You got
And
that right.
so we definitely keep our servicemen and women in our prayers, especially nowadays and
Mm-hmm.
days to come. So, man, Josh, thank you so much again, and
Yes.
I
Yes.
have thoroughly enjoyed this podcast, and I thoroughly enjoy every conversation from the time that we were at Coleman at the expo there, being able to talk to you, and uh, and every time I talk to you, it never fails that you blow my mind with something else that y'all have got coming out, uh, and and just the fact of just the stuff that how y'all have integrated as a business is just phenomenal, and it blows my mind, and I'm ready for this stuff to come out
Man, I am
and
too.
to where I can get some and and be able to put it to work. And I mean, again, because any kind of stuff that you can get to be able to catch that extra fish or two,
Sure.
the angler is going to love it. And I think what y'all have coming out, and I know that you couldn't disclose too terribly much about it, but it is it is definitely a heck of an idea, and it's going to be a game changer. So thank
Mm-hmm.
you for your hard work at it and being able to keep your head down and grind in a way to be able to figure something out for the anglers. And I really think you got something going on right here, bro.
American manufacturing's back, boys.
Yes,
Heck
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Heck.
Thank y'all.
So
Really,
Hey,
I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to y'all again, man. I'll get y'all some heads and some other people some heads to try out. It'll be in the first keeper design victory hook, probably quarter
okay.
ounce,
heck yeah.
and then man, we're going to keep on rolling. So again, thank y'all. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for having me, and God bless.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Guys, we'll see you next week. And we are going to have, let me check my calendar. Jay Barnett with Lifetime Batteries is coming on. We're going to be talking about some lithium batteries next week. So tune in for that. And we've got some this next couple of weeks. There's actually this next month is just full of phenomenal people that podcasts that we're going to be doing. Um, and with that being said, I'm just going to say anchor down and
Roll
no,
Tide.
no roll
Roll
tide.
Tide.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Roll
all right,
Tide.
guys, we'll see you next week, and I hope you have a blessed one.
See you guys.
Peace out.